So I don't really understand. Charmaine, about a year ago, out of the blue, as far as I can gather, given how gallant he'd been before, he'd been, you know, a positive hero in an Austen novel. Correct?
Yeah.
All he needed was a horse, a moor, and some mist. And there you are, a ginger Mr. Darcy. Correct?
I guess.
31st of July, out of nowhere, him being completely reasonable before, he asks for some money. How much?
It was £60.
Which you agreed to.
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like a lot of money to some people. The reality is for you, in your life where you are right now, that was a huge sum of money, correct?
Correct.
Now, here's the thing. He told you and disclosed to you what he wanted the money for. What did you want the money for?
For rent.
You said that, just to be clear, it wasn't for festivals or anything of that kind.
No, it's for rent.
You said you wanted it for rent. Now, you put down in writing a little bit of paper saying £60 for rent, want the money back, bearing in mind, what's your job? Or what was your job at the time then?
I just work like festivals, events, so like behind the bar.
I understand, it's tough work on your feet all day. Time to time, you're at home and you get to see a brilliant court. And you understand when you lend money to friends, it's important to put it down in writing, correct?
Correct.
The money was due, according to you, by how many days later?
It was by the Friday, so about 4 or 5 days later.
4 days later, according to you. Excellent. When did he return it to you?
He hasn't.
Well, that should have been the end of the matter. But instead, 3 days after him failing to pay the initial sum that you say is a loan, on the 7th of August, you can't possibly have entered into a further financial transaction with him, because that would be silly and stupid, wouldn't it?
Yes.
What happened on the 7th of August, please, Charmaine?
I was silly and stupid and lent him another £60.
What was it for this time?
Same again.
Rent again? Well, why did you need to pay for 2 amounts of rent? Did you buy a tent one day and a tent on another day?
Pay weekly.
When was he going to pay this money back?
The Friday.
A few days later. When did he return it?
He hasn't.
Still waiting. And you communicate with him both on text and on social media.
Well...
What happened?
Until he blocked me on social media, blocked my numbers and just started ignoring me altogether.
Did you do that?
I've not blocked you on Facebook.
Talking!
Sorry.
Did you block her on Facebook?
I did block her number, yes.
Why did you block her number?
I was embarrassed that I couldn't pay it back on time.
On the 26th of August, you got a certain sum, correct? How much?
£15.
That's a very important amount here. It's critical in this case. Did you pay back £15?
Yeah, I went into the bank.
Went into the bank and took that out. Now, what I don't understand, sir, is this. You're somebody that's paid rent regularly, you're decent enough in the past, and that's what imbued her with a sense of confidence to give you that sort of money. So don't tell me porkies when I ask you this question. Why can't you pay this money back? What did you do with both of talking? What did you do with both of those £60, sir?
I did pay rent, but then I developed a bit of a gambling problem, started playing poker at the casino.
Just pause. As I understood, the reason you lost that job was because of drunkenness at work.
Also, it was on a night out after work that everything happened.
Point was, there was drunkenness at work, there was behaviour which the company considered was gross misconduct, and you were dismissed, correct? Understood. I can't deal with that issue. Safe to say that that is the case. You found yourself in difficulty. Now, what I am concerned about is that's a problem. Are you seeking new employment now? Have you found it?
Yeah.
Excellent to hear. Again, demonstrates a level of decency. What I'm concerned is the second point. You said you had a gambling problem, but I've seen no evidence of a gambling problem.
So I've actually banned myself from all the casinos in Manchester. My friend...
Just pause. You've banned your... You mean, they haven't banned you?
No, so you can self-ban yourself.
That's interesting.
You have to fill in a form to say...
Don't let me in?
Yeah, basically.
You've been so personally worried about it that you self-banned yourself from every casino in the local area?
Yeah, because I was going pretty much every night after work, so... Friend's advice, and I needed it, so...
Well, you've taken it. Now, Charmaine, you're suing Cameron for what is, on the face of it, not the greatest sum of money, but it's hugely important to you. Effectively, it's for £120, which you say is enforceable. In the ordinary course of things, it wouldn't be enforceable at all, because it's a straightforward agreement between you and a friend, and agreements between friends are not enforceable in court, because courts don't assume that at the time when you hand over that sort of money particularly, that in the event the other person doesn't pay it back, you're going to go to court. Consequently, there's no critical ingredient in a contract, and that ingredient is called an intention to create legal relations. We both know if he doesn't pay back that £120, we're going to court. This is a case where, on the face of it, even with the text messages and the bank transfers, and I accept he's had the money, as does he, you don't get past that hurdle. And consequently, when I started hearing this case, I would have taken very little time to dismiss it entirely. What saves your case is the fact that Cameron must have understood that this was an enforceable loan and understood that he had to pay it back by virtue of the fact that he made one repayment of £15. Had he not made that repayment, I would have dismissed your case in its entirety, which gives you an indication that if you're ever going to lend money in the future, you must get it in writing. Nevertheless, you are entitled to the rest back, and consequently, this court awards you the £120 minus the £15 that's already been paid. The award of this court is £105. Click here for more exclusive YouTube videos. And don't be a moron, subscribe and keep up to date with all the best courtroom action. Jazz hands, Michelle.